Item 1.0, call to order. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. Item 2.0, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? We have a second. It's been first and second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? It's passed. Item 3.0, approval of January 13th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion? We have a second. It's been first and second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is passed. Item 4.0, I do not believe we have any public comment for today.
That's correct.
Great. We'll move forward. Item 5.0, approval of the consent agenda. Before I read these, do we have any that we need to pull out for discussion? If not, item 5.1, CD03, authorization for new vehicle size restriction, no trucks over 8 tons on Westchester Drive between Dickerson Pike and Bellshire Drive, requested by resident. 5.2, removal of existing parking restrictions on both sides of Hancock Street between Joseph Avenue and Meridian Street, requested by Councilmember Parker. Do we have a motion? We have a second? It's been first and second. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It's passed. Item 6.0, the regular agenda. 6.1, authorization for a new traffic signal at 1100 Springfield Highway, requested by developer. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Thank you. This is a traffic signal proposed in Davidson County, but it's north of Goodlettsville. If you're aware, Springfield Highway kind of crosses county lines a couple of times, and this is on the northernmost edge of the county. There's an undeveloped parcel that is being proposed for some industrial or fulfillment warehouses, and the developer has had a traffic access study reviewed and approved by NDOT Development. And according to the traffic study, the proposed driveway connection to Springfield Highway meets MUTCD warrant number 3 for PM peak hour traffic. And NDOT concurs with the recommendations and asks for your approval for a new traffic signal at 1100 Springfield Highway.
Thank you. You're Andrew Smith with NDOT, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any questions on this item? Mr. Gibbs?
It's partly clarification. Who determines who pays for this, and then how is that determination made?
This is paid for by the developer.
Any question? Question? Sure.
We need. Yeah, he's going to have to come back and say, now I've got to reset it. So
Mr. Gibbs, on item 6.1, motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. It's been first and second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? It's passed. Item 6.2, authorization to revoke Valet Lane on the northeast corner of 15th Avenue North and Church Street at 1418 Church Street, requested by NDOT. Emmy, please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel Matias with NDOT. So this is a revocation based on a request from the business itself. They haven't done anything wrong. It's just they decided not to go with Valley anymore. So since they were paid for the end of until the end of 2024, we are bringing this to your attention today to get it approved so we can get the Valley removed and the signs also removed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Does it just revert to on-street parking at that point? I know it's kind of close to the corner right there.
Actually, we don't want to do any changes to the curb because of what you just said. I think we want to reevaluate and see if we want to have anything there at all. If anything, my suggestion would be maybe a passenger drop-off, but nothing permanent that would be there. But at this point, it's not decided. We will go out there with the engineering team and see if there is something that we can get approved through this body in the future.
Okay, thanks. I would also note, like right across the street from there, it's like in an unmarked building, but there's a large clinical research site for medical visits. So for passenger drop-off, that might be pretty appropriate as well.
Thank you.
When did you say the deadline was, or when did it run out? Do you know?
Well, the permit ended at the year end of 2024, so we waited until the end of the year so that they
To submit it?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's passed. Item 7.0, unfinished business. 7.1, authorization to extend the downtown sidewalk vending restriction to the Gulch, including the area bounded by Broadway, 12th Avenue South, Division Street, and 8th Avenue South. Requested by Gulch stakeholders and NDOT. Mr. Smith.
Andrew Smith, NDOT. The councilman reached out to NDOT while this was in the deferral period from a previous meeting and asked for a 3-month deferral. NDOT would like to extend that deferral to August to give us some time to collect more data during the season, which we might expect to see vending. What we found is during the cold weather of December and January, there's just not any vending activity to speak of that is taking place in this location. So we're recommending a deferral till August.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to defer this till August of 2025? Or first, any questions? Any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions?
So I noticed that there's Your data shows there were 29 pedestrian-related crashes, 26 were injury, and 2 were fatal. So that's under the analysis of this. Do we know what time of year, a guesstimate, maybe when those happened?
I can narrow that down. I don't have that information right in front of me, but that is something that can be filtered. But also, I'd like to point out that the area enclosed where these pedestrian crashes have happened also reaches up to Broadway, and I suspect that's probably where the crashes were happening. That's still in the same area we're talking about, but I think there's, a lot more conflicts on Broadway than there is on Pine Street.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No.
It is passed. We do not have any new business, item 8.0. Item 9.0, other items. Update on downtown security bollards and barricades. I believe this was related to a question that the commission had at last month's meeting. If you don't mind, state your name for the record.
Hey, Scott Kibbe with NDOT. So thanks for having me out here this afternoon. Just kind of give you a brief update on our current capabilities and what we kind of plan for the future. So right now we have available Meridian barricades. And these are a snare type barricade that if you were to drive over this, it sort of lifts up the drive axle of your car. They can be arranged in different arrays. They are mobile. Each barricade requires one custom jack to lift, so you can stack them behind each other to get more protection, or you can spread them out like you see here in this picture. You can cable these together to provide gates for any emergency vehicles or anybody coming through. Along with this, we also have salt trucks that we can deploy that provide an extra level of security where these are not available. We do currently have 40 in our yards. And MNPD has already begun to incorporate these into their traffic control plan. They usually come out on big event nights like New Year's Eve, 4th of July, stuff like that. As far as future goes, we are currently in design of a pilot that is east of 5th Avenue on Broadway. And these are a retractable bollard. Their name is a Raptor retractable shallow mount bollard. They are designed to stop 60,000 pounds traveling at 50 miles per hour. You can operate them individually or lane by lane or direction of traffic, eastbound, westbound, that kind of stuff. They can be operated on site or remotely. And, oh, sorry, someone's going here. And we are hoping to deploy those in the near future. Once this pilot program is completed, we will assess those and see how good of a product they are and move forward with the remaining of Broadway all the way down to 1st Avenue. Is there any questions?
Go ahead.
So there's also bollards that are along the sidewalks, and my understanding is those are kind of just bolted to the ground and not necessarily anchored underneath. Is that correct?
No. Well, that's sort of. They are set on top of a concrete footer with a steel cage. They work in, I guess, in an array that you set up. So you have to have, I believe, 4 or more bollards attached to each other to get the strength requirements that they boast on the product website. And so they work as a system. It's probably a 2 foot wide by 2 foot deep concrete block that's underneath the sidewalk that runs down all of those bollards. And so anybody to crash into those, it would stop them. The retractable bollards that we're looking into now, they can operate as a single unit to stop a 60,000 pound truck at 50 miles an hour. So that's good. It gives us a little maneuverability with design. We can kind of move them out of the way of utilities and stuff, and they're a good product, we think.
Do you see us changing those bollards at all that are there existing and kind of incorporating the retractable ones into that, or the retractable ones would just be in places where it's open now?
Oh, let me clarify. The retractable ones would be going across Broadway. So that would be available to shut down street traffic. So right now we have the single post bollards that are fixed, and of course, they don't go up and down. Those, are going to stay on the sidewalk, and they prevent anybody from driving down the sidewalk. This would actually allow for, it sort of frees up police resources. Anytime we have a major event, you can open up Broadway, people can cross wherever because there's no traffic through there. And so that's mainly what those would be used for.
Thanks for this. I've gotten a lot of questions about this between drunk driving, which we've seen here in New Orleans. I think this is on a lot of people's minds. I'm delighted to hear that salt trucks are helpful. I know I will just, for all the NDOT staff here, I have not heard as much positive feedback about our city as I did after our last snowstorm. I don't know what folks on this commission are hearing, but like multiple times a week, people are saying that was amazing. I really appreciated the city getting the streets clean like that. So like to be able to say, and they also serve as protection is like a nice little twist to that. So thank you all, MMPD and NDOT, for working together on that. I have a question about the retractable bollards. I just merged those two words. Are those things we would pay for as a part of our capital budget? Are we talking to the downtown partnership about how to pay for those? What are we looking at there?
Both.
Okay.
So currently we are looking at the pilot program using capital, but in future it's open to everything.
Yeah, I just would like to encourage us to continue to have those conversations because we definitely want people to be safe, and that is our job as a city, but also we're talking about special events. Those are very much related to the work the Downtown Partnership is doing, and so I think we need to have those conversations.
This is something that's kind of in the weeds, but try to make sure that the bollard system for the retractable one, that it has a place for water to be able to weep. Because if water sets up in that cavity and you lower the bollard, it's going to freeze. I work at a place where we have bollards, and when the weather, turns bad and the bollards are down, they're there until it warms back up again.
Yeah, that is actually one of the reasons we selected the product that we selected was because they do drain and they have drainage pipes underneath, and they have kind of rubber boots that sort of prevent the water from going back in. But there is, maintenance with these as well, and so we are looking into how to set up the best maintenance plan, looking at someone local to come in and be able to maintenance these.
Any other questions?
Can this be used like to slow down people in neighborhoods? If you put it in the middle of the street or on the side?
You could probably use the meridians for that, I would say. The retractable bollards are, they're fixed. They call them shallow mount, but you excavate 24 inches below grade, so 2 feet down, and you pour concrete and set them inside the concrete. So they don't move. Then they're controlled by fiber optics, and that they can come out of the ground whenever someone at the TMC will push a button and say, all right, we're closing this traffic lane down. But these absolutely could be used for anything, street fairs or anything like that. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a follow-up to that. Thank you for that amazing idea. And actually, so I live kind of close to 12 South, and I know the merchants there have talked about whether they could maybe get enough money to put something like the retractable ones in, because they actually really like closing off the street, but they find that it's prohibitively expensive to do over and over again because the number of streets that kind of lead in and the police presence that you have to hire and how that process works make it very difficult, but the neighborhood and the merchants really love being able to close the streets down. So I would just ask too that if NDOT could look at sort of what sort of program it might have where neighborhood associations, stuff like that, who, it's really easy if you're just shutting down a block on Halloween. I live in a different neighborhood, but we have a block we shut down and we have the little movable, pony type things that would never stop a car, but it's really easy to do that and we man it ourselves and lots of neighborhoods do that. But when you look at commercial centers with a lot of ingress and egress that want to be able to do that for like street fair and type things, looking at our road closure program and what we might have to charge for that, because it might reduce the burden that MMPD is facing where you have to have like a cop car at every single intersection up and down, right? And if we could have some sort of system where those could be rented out or used in some way to, because we know when we close streets, we create communities, and that's what people really want.
Yes.
Great. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that one too. I think it's West Palm Beach has a very nice walkable downtown that they've been building over the last few years. And that's one of the features that they have to help expand beyond the sidewalk with parking. And they kind of just have removable bollards that, the merchants have the availability to kind of say that they want a parking spot there that day, or if they want to close it off and then kind of expand out from there. So if there's an opportunity to kind of expand pedestrian space with this as well, that'd be great.
There are certainly cheaper options than what we're going with in Broadway. The reason we've selected the ones we are in Broadway is because there are tons of utilities underneath, and so we kind of had to find a solution that would fit that. Now, the other reason is because you're coming downhill on Broadway, so you have the potential to gain a lot of speed, a lot of kinetic energy. We wanted something that was really strong. But they make other options where you have bollards that are adjustable with just a typical power drill. So you can, let's say you have 3 bollards, small street, 3 or 4 bollards that go across the street, someone could come out and just put a power drill on it and it'll zip right up. Far more economical, yes.
Any other questions? Only question I had was, you said you had 40 of these, and I know we're working on the retractable bollards. It may have a lead time with procurement and all that. Do you have what you need for the next few events that are scheduled?
For the next few events using the meridians?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so. I think that would be a question for MNPD. I know that we do have 40 at their availability. We can give them that and the salt trucks. But depending on the event and how they want to set it up, I think that would be a question for those guys.
And just from an inventory standpoint, with as busy as we get in the summer, I don't know the timeline for the retractable bollards, but just ensuring that we need more meridians, or just reviewing the needs and to ensure that we can accommodate to make sure we're enforcing pedestrian safety.
And so, as far as timeline goes for retractable bollards, I mean, we are starting the design phase. I mean, we had vetted suppliers and vendors for the past year and went through that process. And I mean, coincidentally, when New Orleans happened in New Year's, we were proceeding with the design. So we are in design for that pilot project that is east of 5th Avenue on Broadway. And we think that, it's still early to say, but we are targeting a winter 2025, 2026. So sometime, this time next year is when we're looking to hit the ground on that and have it in by the 2026 tourist season, hopefully. So.
Okay. Thank you for that update.
Yeah, no problem.
With that, we'll shift to item 10. Captain?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Thanks, everybody.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.